Arthur Jafa defines his concept of Black visual intonation as the use of irregular, non-tempered, or non-metronomic camera rates and frame replication to prompt filmic movement to function in a manner that approximates Black vocal intonation. BVI steps outside of traditional Hollywood cinema to address energies inherent to Black being in a different mode of visually capturing Black life undetermined by white hegemonic ideals. Some bold examples of BVI studied in class include Larry Clark's Passing Through, Jen and Kiru's Rebirth is Necessary, Ben Caldwell's Medea, Khalil Joseph's Until the Quiet Comes, and Julie Dash's Four Women. Each film rests in either Black music, speech, and movement through dance. They carry the energy of Blackness through certain filmic decisions like non-linear structure and montage editing. While exploring BVI, Arthur Jafa created Love is a Message, The Message is Death, a montage piece archiving recorded Black life set to Black music, capturing the intonation of the tones in the music through the editing. No one image directly interprets the lyrics in the song because they all represent the energy and tone of the music backing the video. The arrangement of the images, their duration on screen, their pace, colors, and other visual elements work in tandem with the song while still maintaining their own intonation.
This is a God dream. This is a God dream.
The editing of my project will reflect this, as the images do not necessarily work as a translation of the music, but rather to uphold a cultural energy central to Black being. Larry Clark's Passing Through acts as preliminary BVI before Jafa's written concept. Alessandro Rengo states, Liquid Blackness was immediately drawn to the aesthetic fluidity of Passing Through for how it renders the multiple ways in which Blackness exists in space and time, simultaneously indexing rootedness and displacement, originality and alienation. These multiplicities become visualized through the images in my montage. Chip Linscott writes, in a 2017 Tate Talk, Arthur Jafa contended that Khalil Joseph makes music videos that employ music as a structure for a visual pattern. As an artist, Joseph will naturally have his own style or intonation. His work as a visual artist captures an energy that expresses his culture and is arranged in a way that does not subscribe to Hollywood cinema. Joseph's Wildcat enters the community of a small Black Oklahoma town immersed in their rodeo culture. The editing style in terms of the nonlinear structure and effects, particularly his use of slow motion, expresses Joseph's visual intonation. Esperanza Spalding is a world-renowned singer, songwriter, and bassist. She holds 7 jazz albums and works extensively through improvisation, especially live. Her particular vocal intonation is heavily influenced by Brazilian music. Her bass intonation retains an influence from early 20th century bassists like Ron Carter and Dave Holland. Through the Free Medicine live stream, Spalding explains how she was spontaneously asked to stream an improv session. Chip Linscott expresses how we find secret histories in Black art, stating, in short, the music provides a map for the creation of the images, but history underpins the music and the image in total and is essential to the deep appreciation of both. While the selection of images is intentional, largely settled on artists and leaders, the arrangement of the images is improvisational, like the style of the music accompaniment and the dynamic energy of jazz. By cutting the images together in accordance with the intonation of her bass, it visually captures that improvisational energy of free jazz. The following are prominent images in my project. Shopping Bag Spirits and Freeway Fetishes is an experimental documentary film capturing ritual and Black artwork. The film does not portray a particular narrative with a particular structure. It instead captures the variations and ritualistic aspects of the work, or each artist's visual intonation, leaning into an energy that is inherently Black, visually capturing the way the artists make their work. Dee Reese's Pariah follows young Black lesbian Lee and focuses on her family and community just as much as the film focuses on Lee. While rehearsing, Reese had the actors rehearse character-centered scenarios rather than the script lines. Young's freehand cinematography captures these raw, unrehearsed performances, a lot of which is improvised by the actors. He visually captures the actor's intonation. Daughters of the Dust implements Jafa's ideas of Black visual intonation with its use of non-metronomic frame rates in certain scenes, as well as a non-linear story structure. Even more so, the story is about and made by Black people, being completely immersed in Blackness, so along with the filmic elements of visual intonation, the Blackness of that intonation shines through clearly. Photography captures the intonation of various aspects of human life, but specifically movement and emotion, or how one carries out or expresses emotion. Weems's work captures the individual expressions of emotions of her subjects with very deliberate sets and compositions. De Carava's work specifically is captured in a more improvised way, layering his own intonation with his subjects. Both Morrison and Hurston wrote about and to Black people, with characters speaking in Black dialects and centering around histories experienced by Black Americans. Their work does not explicitly oppose whiteness, but it simply exists as Black without having to acknowledge whiteness. The intonation of their work lies with the Black communities they explored and centered their stories around. Much of Solange's visual work is heavily settled in particular geometry, usually through architecture. Her visual intonation can itself be described as geometric and remains entrenched in blackness. Her stories centralize and praise blackness and the many faces of it. Even still, her intonation constantly circles back to her Houston heritage, tethering her intonation more to her specific visual tone. The inclusion of Black dancers is vital to this project because they carry their intonation in their bodies and already express it through a visual mode. Dancers like Misty Copeland, Judith Jameson, Storyboard P, and Black dance companies like Alvin Ailey center artistic expression, all of which come from and are cloaked in Black being, highlighted through the Black body. The inclusion of contemporary artists who are not famous is incredibly important because a different intonation is enacted. There are different class statuses, social interactions, and worldviews laced in the work of artists who are not famous. The composition, colors, dimensions, and so on of their work reflect personal experiences and visually convey intonation. The cosmos are an essential component of many African traditional religions. During the transatlantic slave trade, certain religions were able to make it over and be made anew in America. And so the function of the cosmos and Black religious systems function as a sort of secret history of Black culture. The vast unknowns of space reflect the depths and uncertainties of Black being. The montage nature of this project and the improvisational arrangement of the images will make each image of equal importance, whether it's on screen for 3 frames or 3 seconds. With this collection of images and Spalding's improv performance, a visual intonation that captures Black being becomes enacted.